Okay. So I've done sort of a bit of the introduction to the project. And I thought I'd start with some results of a very recent survey we did with the Essex residents panel. And we just asked 10 or 11 quite simple kind of questions around water and the relating to some of the government's environment improvement plan targets around water, a bit around the status of our water bodies currently today. And we found that the results were people were kind of generally quite unaware about the long-term targets for water. But the first key finding was that 53% of people rated water pollution in their current top 3 environmental concerns. And when we asked the same question 2 years ago, that was only 23%. So it's the most risen concern of any of the concerns that were listed around environment and climate change. So people are worried about it, but 95% of people did not know about the target to reduce our public water usage. 83% of people did not know that Essex was classed in a seriously water stressed area. 81% of people didn't know that only 7% of our water bodies are at a good ecological status. So, but 67% of people did feel like they knew the reasons for that. So, majority of the time there's problems with agricultural runoff, with water company discharges into our rivers and water bodies, and also built environment, highway drainage, just general kind of pollution that ends up in our water bodies. So we were asked why we thought in 2021 why it was a sort of lower area of concern, and people felt that they either weren't informed enough about it or that they didn't think it was their problem. So on those 2 fronts, we do hope that the Essex Water Strategy will change that response and that people will be more informed.
Sorry, and just getting rid of that.
People will change their own behaviours as well. Okay, so I'll just click this one to go forward. Yeah, is that right? So the reasons why Essex doesn't have any statutory responsibility with water, integrated water management. We don't have a duty to do the water strategy, but we do have a commitment in our Everyone's Essex corporate plan that we will make our communities resilient to water scarcity. So this project is part of the delivery of that commitment. I've been working on it for a year. I've got a few months left to go. I'll talk about what the end products of that project will be towards the end, but it links to a lot of other work that we're doing. Water is so fundamental in so many things, green growth, local nature recovery, we do flood management, natural flood management. We've got the Essex Forest Initiative and other, health and well-being, leisure, tourism for Essex. So the findings and the outputs of this strategy will hopefully make the water picture just that much more accessible to those other streams of work and the general public. But others already do a lot, but it's kind of just in their own, maybe in their own little niche area. We're kind of trying to bring it all together. So a quick overview of the scale of the Essex water resources. On the left side, we have 4 water supply companies in Essex and Suffolk Water, Anglian Water, and Thames Water and Infinity Water. So each of those cover quite large areas. So bottom left here shows you the whole area that Anglian Water cover. They only cover a small part of Essex really, but within Essex they have what are called 2 water resource zones. And they have the legal obligation to put together very formal, sustainable water supply, water resources management plans. So they have to do that every 5 years. And they've identified in their latest plan that today, for the whole of Anglian Water's area, so this isn't just Essex numbers, it's quite big numbers, there is 39 megalitres a day surplus, and a megalitre is 1 million litres. So it's kind of 100 metres tall, Big Ben height, cubed. So it's a lot of water, and that's every single day we have 39 megalitres a day spare to feed their public water supply. But when we look into the future with population growth, drought-induced climate, from climate change, the needs of our environment to keep flowing in our rivers for biodiversity and nature, we need to find 477 megalitres every single day. So the water companies have this duty to make these plans. They are planning, installing smart meters, putting new reservoirs in place, transferring more water between the companies, reducing leakage for sure. That's one of the government targets for water companies as well. But there are other sectors who are water users that's outside that public water supply realm. And this is where the challenge, I think, might be felt, more strongly. So, for example, in terms of agriculture here, if we want to look to enhance our environment and give it as much water as we can to thrive, then it will mean that our abstraction licenses for water abstraction for agriculture are going to have to be cut maybe by more than 60% in 2050. So those landowners, those farmers will have to find another alternative supply of water, doing more winter abstraction, more floods, capturing flood flows perhaps, working together collectively to look at other alternative, water reuse, rainwater cycling, rainwater capture, flood storage, as I said. And if they can kind of collaborate together, then to secure that future supply. The other side, as well as water resources, supply and demand, we've got water quality in Essex. So this is an overview that shows you the state of our water bodies. This is from the 2019 Water Framework Directive review. And only 6 out of 91 of our water bodies achieve good status in that review. There is another one coming that should be published fairly soon, I think. That is below the England average, which I think is about 16%. And 33 out of the 91 water bodies within our boundary are poor status. So 32% are poor. And again, that's above the England average. So we kind of on both fronts, we don't have as many good and we have more poor than the rest of England as an average. The target in the Environment Improvement Plan is for our water bodies 75% to be good status as soon as possible. So we're quite a way off that goal. We know through the data again that the reasons for not achieving good status are broadly water company sewage discharge, agricultural practices, urbanisation, impermeable surfaces running off pollutants, minerals, chemicals, and transport drainage runoff. So that's what we've got to work on. There's a lot of government targets around those industries. There's the compulsory requirement for all planning to have sustainable drainage systems which capture runoff and filter it, so improving quality as well as managing flood risk. And we talk about those in the Essex Water Strategy. And we will be making recommendations, across all levels, government, homeowners, businesses, to achieve some of the targets that the government and our own council have set for water. So the key project outputs will be an accessible, as you would expect, written kind of PDF Essex Water Strategy documents. That's I'm currently writing that. It's kind of like my another dissertation kind of feeling, but I've learned so much over the last year, and I'm really wanting to tell the whole story of water for Essex at that kind of, so we can really relate to it. We can look at the differences across the county, and we can really start to understand how it all links together and what our role is and what others, the scale of the challenge for us here in Essex. And as part of, to support that written document, which isn't necessarily for everyone, we're developing a more interactive kind of explorer tool, online tool. So it will be, a website. We're yet to kind of badge it, but possibly we've been working with the charity Waterwise, and maybe something like Get Essex Waterwise. And it'll be an explorer, so you can click on different icons, find out more about leaks, more about pollution, more about natural flood management schemes like the beaver reintroduction at Spain's Hall, pinching fields. So and how all of those activities are helping with water, or what more needs to be done. And it will be a little bit more fun and interactive. And I've engaged with the Young Essex Assembly on it, and they provided some amazing feedback and were really engaged with it. So that's kind of to complement and help get the messages out. And we also, for those that are very into the detail and into the data, we'll be publishing a lot of what we're finding on our Essex data portal, Essex Open Data. So that's a lot of graphs, charts, data, statistics. So if you're doing a project and you want to know maybe what the water situation is, it might be helpful for kind of, you know, justifying the needs there for water, or just finding out more specific numbers. This is the last slide, I think. Yeah, so recommendations, we will be, as I said, across the board. We don't have necessarily you know, requirement to create an action plan. You know, this is, my project will be finishing in September, and we can't necessarily you know, commit a lot more funding, but this is the start. This is the first Essex water strategy. We'll be making these recommendations, which will hopefully lead on to further investment. So we will continue. I mean, I'll probably leave you to sort of work through these if you've got, so I might be running out of time, but the main thing is putting water, embedding water. We talk about energy, you know, renewable energy, waste, net zero in every breakdown conversation. Water needs to be as part of that, you know, conversation within all of our work and strategies. Again, so we're putting it on the agenda and making it much more, changing those statistics that I showed you at the beginning about understanding of water and Essex.
Thank you very much.